Hello and welcome. Tonight, Benue State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal opposed the victory of Governor Hyacinth Alia in the March 18th poll, dismisses the petition filed by the PDP and its candidate, says issues raised are pre-election matters. Security operatives recover various types of weapons after uncovering an arms-making factory in Kafanchan, Kaduna State. Arrest alleged gunrunner on its wanted list. Organizers of Candlelight procession to honor Afrobeat singer Mohbad in Port Harcourt expressed displeasure over rumored cancellation of the event by the police. And at least 34 people have been killed after an illegal fuel dump burst into flames in Benin Republic near its border with Nigeria.
And on business news tonight, a local bourse, the all-share index closed in bear territory following profit-taking activities on most sessions this week.
On sports news tonight, Erling Haaland scores his 8th goal in 6 Premier League matches as champions Manchester City extend their flawless start to the season with a win over Nottingham Forest.
Victory for Governor Hyacinth Alia of the All Progressives Congress APC after the Benue State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Makurdi today upheld his election. The tribunal dismissed the petition of the People's Democratic Party and its governorship candidate, Mr. Titus Uba, which challenged the election held on March the 18th for lack of jurisdiction to entertain the matter. The chairman of the three-man panel, Justice Ibrahim Karaye, held that the matter raised before the tribunal are pre-election issues.
Security operatives cordoned off the Benue State Judicial Avenue, housing the Governorship Election Petition Tribunal, as early as 7 a.m., ahead of the final judgment in the tribunal. Counsels to the PDP, its candidate, and the Benue State Governor are present in court. The People's Democratic Party and its governorship candidate, Mr. Titus Uba, argued that Governor Hyacinth Alia and his deputy, Mr. Sam Ode, were not qualified to contest the governorship election at the time of the conduct of the exercise. They also alleged that the deputy governor presented a forged certificate to the Independent National Electoral Commission and should be disqualified. However, the three-man panel of justices led by Justice Ibrahim Karaye maintained that the tribunal did not have the jurisdiction to hear the issues raised by the petitioners before the tribunal, adding that they were pre-election matters. The unanimous decision of the tribunal also dismissed the petition that borders on alleged forgery, stating that the petitioners failed to prove the allegation.
In today's judgment, you can see that all the issues that were tabled by the respective parties, both the petitioners and the respondents, were all resolved. So in effect, they have affirmed the decisions of the good people of Benue State, which they came up with on the 18th of March by electing Reverend Father Alia as the governor of Benue State.
For the benefit of the doubt, the tribunal decided to look into the merits. And in looking into the merits, the tribunal established that the allegations were unfounded and the volume of proof under our jurisprudence with regards to the complaint about forgery, they were not able to prove them. They were required to have proved it beyond reasonable doubt. All their pieces of evidence were unconnected and were not strong enough to meet the requirements of the law.
Counsel to the PDP and its governorship candidate, Mr. Uba, declined to comment on the judgment. However, the deputy governor wants the petitioners to join hands with the state government to bring development to the state.
We thank our supporters for standing firmly behind us, for their goodwill, and for our opponents, we ask them to join us so that we can begin governance of the state We need to move forward. It is time to move on now.
The petitioners have 14 days to file an appeal, which should be dispensed within the next 60 days.
In the meantime, the People's Democratic Party in Benue State has rejected that judgment by the governorship election petition tribunal. A statement by the State Publicity Secretary, Mr. Bengam Utoyom, in PDP Benue State, says that after a review of the judgment with his team of lawyers, the party believes that it does not meet the requirement of substantive justice and is not in alignment with the extant electoral laws and guide at the Court of Appeal, Abuja, within the time frame. The Joint Security Task Force on Illegal Road Tax Collection has arrested 9 suspects after a clash with the youths in Dauda on Makurdi-Lafia Federal Expressway. Trouble started when the task force, led by a retired Chief Superintendent of Police, Mr. Jeffrey Ibobi, took a team comprising the police and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps on an enforcement operation. But youth from the community reacted and engaged the task force in a fight.
It's one of the regular patrol by officials of the Benue State Task Force on illegal roadblock and tax extortion along the Makurdi-Lafia Federal Highway. Here in Daudu, a commercial town in Goma local government area of the state, the task force makes some arrests. However, some youths block the road to stage a fight with the officials. The fracas made security officials to fire gunshots into the air to disperse the mob before escaping the mob. Moments later, the task force reinforced and returned to the community to arrest 6 other suspects.
The main theme and purpose is for clearance of illegal roadblocks within Benue State. The task force team, comprising of policemen and men of the Civil Defense Corps, were here to clear the roadblock. We made some arrests, cleared the roadblock, and then proceeded ahead. Unfortunately, we went up to Daudu. By the time we came back, we discovered that hoodlums came out again to block the road. And we tried clearing them, they attempted attacking us. And so we had to go for reinforcement, got some military men, came back here again to make sure we cleared them. That's exactly what has happened here today.
Materials were seized from the suspects and the operational bases were also set ablaze. Some motorists who have fallen victim of these illegal tax collectors commend the governor for taking such action.
This governor tried because before, if you go from the road, they go worry us police and agboro. You go see person with touch. If you begin stop, now I'm robber. So they rob us for this road. So this governor make it help us. Put checking point for Benue to Nasarawa State. Governor for Nasarawa may try because he will come up for East. If you begin enter Benue and Nasarawa State, armed robber, they go rob you for road. They go wear soldier clothes, wear police clothes. If you reach the checking point, not be soldier, not be police. They go search you, carry every property where you go. Later they go carry go enter bush. So I bet this governor make it try for them, try for us.
The task force also ensured that all blockades on the highway are cleared, as the 9 suspects were taken to the Benue State Police headquarters for further questioning and possible prosecution.
We take you outside the shores of the country. Nigeria's participation in the 78th session of the UN General Assembly may have formally ended, but government officials have continued to interact on the sidelines of the global gathering as they meet with investment and development partners. While the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation sought partnerships, the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment met with representatives of top tech companies. Our State House correspondent, Larry Lassisi, reports from New York.
It's a high-level engagement by some government officials on the sideline of the 78th session of the UN General Assembly. It's attended by representatives of different agencies of the United Nations and officials of some foreign countries. It's organized by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation with the theme Building Partnerships for Durable Solutions and Addressing Human and Climate-Induced Displacement and Poverty.
He wants to see a Nigeria that can be able to meet the SDG goals before 2030. He's committed to providing innovative solutions to the problems which we face, and he has brought about different innovations, including expanding on the economy and providing that environment where we can create more jobs that will lift people out of poverty.
According to the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, about 35 million Nigerians are directly or indirectly affected by the humanitarian crisis in Nigeria. Partnership is seen as a viable option to ensure that the administration's plans becomes a reality, a plan that gets the endorsement of UN officials.
I love the title, the issue. Durable solutions, as we all know, are usually an orphan in our humanitarian operations, and yet they should be central and they should be a priority. And the way, Dr. Betta, you talked about the need for IDPs to go home, the need for resilience while they are displaced, this is a lesson that we need everywhere, not just Nigeria, everywhere.
That saw a lot of actions and programming stall, but at this point we're at the midpoint towards 2030, and we have a fresh chance to actually get it right. To get it right will require intentionality, it will require targeted investments, and it will also require a certain continuity of purpose. I think that we all have the humility to recognize that, and if we're going to do what's right for the country, we all have to work together.
The Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment also had an event that focused on positioning Nigeria as a global talent export hub. Here, officials meet with representatives of top tech companies. The idea is to seek investments that will create millions of jobs and diversify the economy.
It is noteworthy that the global talent sourcing industry was valued at $620 billion in 2020 and is forecasted to be valued at $904 billion by 2027. With a youthful population and over 1.7 million graduates from the higher educational institutions joining the workforce each year, Nigeria has the potential to provide high-quality talent for the global service export and outsourcing industry.
The Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy also highlights Nigerians' plan to help power the world economy by providing needed and skilled talent.
From my ministry, in contribution to what the Honorable Minister is doing, we are actually investing in becoming the destination for artificial intelligence talent, especially when it comes to how you train AI models. Right? This is an area where we believe that the world needs a lot of talent.
The representative of the World Economic Forum and others present made clear their support and applaud the initiative of the federal government. Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
In part two, after the break, organizers of Candlelight procession in honor of Afrobeat artist Mohbad in Port Harcourt expressed displeasure over rumored cancellation of the event by the police. Plus, Kogi State government allays fears over possible political violence ahead of the November 11th governorship election in the state, promises to ensure no blood is shed. That's in a moment. Join us again. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, coming to you live from Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. Benue State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal opposed the victory of Governor Hyacinth Alia in the March 18th poll, dismisses the petition filed by the PDP and its candidate, says issues raised are pre-election matters. Security operatives recover various types of weapons after uncovering an arms-making factory in Kafanchan, Kaduna State. Arrest alleged gun runner on his wanted list. Organizers of Candlelight procession to honor Afrobeat musician Mohbad in Port Harcourt expressed displeasure over rumored cancellation of the event by the police. And at least 34 people have been killed after an illegal fuel dump burst into flames in Benin Republic near its border with Nigeria. The federal government says it's working towards generating 20,000 megawatts of electricity by 2026 and 60,000 by 2060. The Minister of Power, Mr. Adebayo Adelabu, made this known in Osogbo during a visit to the National Control Center of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, located in the Osun State capital.
Like I told you, which is an aspiration, Nigeria to have minimum of 60,000 megawatts of power supply by 2060. That's 60 gigawatts. And by 2030, which is the medium-term objective of achieving the 30,000 megawatts of power. But, like I mentioned in one of the programs that I attended, that in as much as we are on course to achieve this, given the experiences of other countries who are able to even achieve 100,000 megawatts of power within 40 to 50 years. This is not an ambitious target for Nigeria. You can easily achieve it. We have targets for transmission capacity, we have targets for distribution capacity, and we have targets for power generation capacity. I'm saying that by 2026, we should be able to achieve a 20,000 megawatts of electricity.
Some residents of Port Harcourt, River State today defied an alleged cancellation by the police of a planned candlelight procession to honor Afrobeat musician popularly known as Mohbad. News of the alleged cancellation, however, affected the number of participants, as many of them later left the area where they had gathered. When contacted, the River State Police Public Relations Officer, Grace Koko, said that the organizers did not follow due process, but maintained that the police would monitor them to ensure they went about it peacefully. One of the organizers, who spoke to Channels Television, expressed disappointment over the development.
We want to honor him, give him our last respect. So we wrote to him. They received the letter, stamped it and everything. So yesterday, the commissioner of police called that I should come to the office. I went there with Edis Wamba, the boss of Edis Wamba. And the next thing he said was, we shouldn't hold it, that we shouldn't do any procession on the street. So we had to shift it and say, okay, since we won't disturb the public peace, let's go into GRA, go to a confined space at Edis Wamba and hold it. So we've done a press statement, all right? We did the press statement and we sent out a new graphic design for tomorrow. So this evening, I heard that DSS are in Edis Wamba telling us that we shouldn't gather at all, even tomorrow. And most of the persons here didn't get the information that it has been postponed for tomorrow. But we are not walking on the streets. Yeah, but then DSS are already at Edis Wamba saying we shouldn't even hold it tomorrow. We shouldn't hold it because we're not going to walk tomorrow. We'll just stay in the space, on our candle, and give him our last respect and have a tribute concert. That was all we planned to do.
The politics in Kogi, where the state government is vowing to ensure that no blood is shed as the state goes into another round of governorship election in November this year. The government made this promise at a press briefing in Abuja, where Governor Yahaya Bello maintained that he's satisfied with his achievements and will not stop making contributions to the nation's development at all levels after leaving office in 2024.
It is less than 2 months to the forthcoming November governorship elections in Kogi State, and this meeting with journalists in Abuja is organized by the state governor to, among other matters, appraise preparations for the exercise.
As a politician,
speaking in retrospect, Governor Yahaya Bello told the gathering that he is satisfied with the achievements of his administration.
The sole aim of our coming to office was to serve the people. And I know that in the last 7 years plus, we have taken Kogi State from where it is to be to this level, and we can only head to the next level for the betterment of our people. I'm not leaving office to go and be quiet. I will be in my own corner, to ensure that I continue to add value to the good governance of both Kogi State, Nigeria, and of course to democracy in general.
The issue of security.
The conversations here also touch on issues of security in the state, especially in the light of the forthcoming elections.
What I can assure you is that that election is going to be very free, fair, and peaceful. There won't be violence at all, as the state government is determined to ensure that no blood is spilled because somebody wants to assume the position of power.
Let me mention here that the federal government of Nigeria must pay diligent attention to states like Kogi State, particularly in area of security. A safer Kogi is a recipe for FCT, Abuja. Therefore, a special funding should be provided for the state in order to continue to check influx of criminal elements from other neighboring states, particularly to Abuja.
Governor Yahaya Bello is promising a fair election on November 11, 2023.
To education matters in Taraba State, where the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, is threatening to embark on an indefinite strike over 6 months unpaid salaries of its members. The union is asking the state government to take urgent steps to offset the salary arrears and prevent the strike that could negatively impact the education sector.
Our members expressed deep concern over the inadequate funding of the university, which has led to delays and irregular and sometimes fractional payment of salaries. In summary, we are owed 6 full months and 7 months fractional salaries. It may interest you to know that as of today, our members are yet to be paid their salaries for the month of July and August 2023. It is worrisome to mention that our members are going through excruciating economic realities in the wake of subsidy removal and inflammatory forces. Moreover, the non-implementation of the Memorandum of Action signed on the 18th of March 2021 by the Taraba State Government, Taraba State University Management, and ASU TSU branch is demoralizing. The union members are owed earned academic allowances, EAA, dating back to 2015. And the government lacks clarity regarding staff pension and gratuity. In the light of these issues, ASU TSU calls on the Taraba State government to take urgent and concrete steps to address these concerns and ensure the sustainable development and stability of the university. ASU TSU urges all relevant stakeholders, including the government, to engage in constructive dialogue and implement solutions to resolve these pressing issues for the betterment of Taraba State University. The general public may wish to note that besides other issues, this has been a major trigger of strike actions in the institution over the years.
From education to security issues now, the future air warfare of the Nigerian Air Force must revolve around intelligence gathering, surveillance, rapid mobility, and precision attack against its adversaries. And this is coming from the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, who says that this has become expedient in view of the complex nature of contemporary and emerging security challenges in the country. He stated this in a lecture for participants of Senior Course 46 of the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, Kaduna State.
Nigeria Air Force has acquired platforms with precision guidance, especially the unmanned aerial vehicles. This effort has proved to be a game changer in our counter-insurgency operations with highly commendable, favorable outcomes. To sustain this tide and ensure success in future air warfare, the Nigerian Air Force will need to progressively induct more platforms with precision guidance. Unmanned aircraft systems have quickly become one of the Internet of Things devices. There are high probabilities that in the future, terrorists and insurgents in the country will make increasing use of these devices to carry out attacks against armed forces. It is thus incumbent on the service to build counter-unmanned aircraft systems capabilities that will deny the adversary unmanned aircraft systems from accomplishing their mission. In achieving this, the Nigerian Air Force will essentially require a combination of active and passive measures that will prevent the adversaries unmanned aircraft systems from detecting, targeting, or destroying their intended targets. The acquisition of this capability will ensure the service's preparedness for future air warfare.
Staying in Kaduna State, security operatives have uncovered an illegal gun manufacturing syndicate with a factory located in Kafanchan, Jema local government area. Weapons of different shapes, including combat gears, arms and military uniforms, amongst other items, were recovered from the factory. According to sources from Operation Safe Haven, following a week-long intelligence operation, the troops captured the gun runner who has been on its wanted list for security breach within southern Kaduna and its environs. The suspects eventually led the troops to the concealed factory where different arms are being produced and sold to merchants of crisis in Kaduna and Plateau State. In another sting operation, troops raided another hideout in Adwa village of Kafanchan and recovered arms, military and police uniform, mask, as well as other dangerous weapons. Meanwhile, no fewer than 20 suspected kidnappers have been arrested by the police in Taraba State. This follows intelligence gathering and public outcry on the activities of criminal elements, which prompted the command to launch a manhunt on the criminals said to be in some identified hotspots within the state. Parading the suspects before journalists at the command's headquarters in Jalingo, the police spokesperson in the command, Abdullahi Usman, said the suspects have all confessed to their involvement in the crime. Away from crime matters, the Adamawa state government says it's committed towards ensuring that measures put in place to alleviate the residents' suffering as a result of fuel subsidy removal are implemented. The Chief of Staff to the State Governor, Dr. Amos Edgar, gave this assurance after the government rolled out the shuttle buses aimed at easing transportation difficulties for the residents.
One step that the Adamawa state government is taking to alleviate the impact of the fuel subsidy removal is the deployment of these buses to different parts of the state. The reception among residents of the state has been that of mixed feelings.
We that are driving keke, we are having some problems like the challenges we are facing because, some people no longer like to enter keke because since the transport is just 100 naira from here to anywhere you are going. So the problem we are having now is that some passengers, or we to carry them now, is the problem now. So, but the governor try.
I pay 100 naira and I enjoy the car, I enjoy the AC also. Thank God for the government of Adamawa State first, and then this thing is reduced cost to people that are coming from far, and then there is no reason why you cannot wait for just a minute to reach where you're supposed to be going. So we thank God for that.
The Chief of Staff to the Governor, Dr. Amos Edgar, and the company of some state officials take a ride in one of the shuttle buses. Impressed by the operation of the buses, Mr. Edgar gives his impression of the shuttle bus, promising that the state government will do more to ease the effect of subsidy removal on the lives of the people.
This administration intends to inject funds to ensure that our people and their aspirations, their pains are alleviated. So there is a serious commitment that the operations of the buses will be sustained.
Meanwhile, a youth advocacy group is commending the governor for taking steps to bring succor to the people of the state following the removal of fuel subsidy.
We members of the Fintri Grassroots Support Movement therefore wholeheartedly commend the governor and his team for the intervention which program is provided core areas of transportation as well as subsidy food items to people in all 226 wards in the state. Purchase of 10 luxury buses to meet the transportation needs of the people in the state.
Aside from the 10 mega shuttle buses deployed, the state government also distributed grains at subsidized rates. The state government is hoping to do more to improve the living standard of the people.
In Bayelsa State, Governor Doye Diri is giving assurances that his administration will improve the state's infrastructure as the need arises. He made the pledge during the commissioning of a 10.2-kilometer road that was abandoned for many years by the previous administrations. At the event, the Sultan of Sokoto, who was a special guest, called on Nigerians to see their diversity as strength, as the country is stronger together.
Governor Doye Diri receives the Sultan of Sokoto, His Eminence Muhammad Saad Abubakar III in Bayelsa State. He is here to commission a road project delivered by Governor Diri's administration. The State Commissioner for Works gives an insight into the 10.2-kilometer Glory Drive dual carriageway abandoned years ago.
When the prosperity government of His Excellency, Senator Doye Diri, the executive governor of Bayelsa State, who came on board in February 2020, deemed it necessary to continue with the construction of Glory Drive Phase 2 because of its strategic location, its importance and economic viability to the people of Bayelsa State.
Governor Diri assures the people that infrastructure development will not be mixed with politics in Bayelsa State.
We told you that we don't play politics with development. This road that we have completed is not only for PDP members. Not so. It's meant for both PDP, APC, Labour Party, whatever party you are. Everybody is using the road. Not so. Some persons came and played politics with it.
The Sultan of Sokoto calls on Nigerians to remain united and urges the governor to continue to do more for the people.
Why bring somebody from far away Sokoto to Bayelsa? Because this is one Nigeria. And I have said it so many times at so many fora, we are stronger together. Our diversity is our strength. Because we're all here today as one family, different fathers, but we're all together. And when a leader is doing the right thing, you will see it through the faces and comments of the followers.
Amen.
The newly completed Glory Drive dual carriageway, a 10.2-kilometer road project, stretches from Ibugene through several communities and terminates at Onopa in Enugu, the capital of Bayelsa State.
To enhance the processing capacity of the farmers and reduce post-harvest loss in Enugu State appear to be yielding results. This follows the construction of aggregation processing centers and energy supports in different parts of the state to serve as common user facilities. The project is courtesy of the Agro-Processing Productivity Enhancement and Livelihood Improvement Support Appeals, a World Bank-assisted project under the Enugu State Ministry of Agriculture. The milestone was achieved within the 100 days of Governor Peter Mba.
The coordinator of the Enugu Agro-Processing Productivity Enhancement and Livelihood Improvement Support Appeals leads the media on an assessment tour of the new processing and aggregating center built for rice and cashew farmers in the state. The first stop is a rice cluster in Nara Unata, in Kano East local government area of Enugu State. This center was built within the 100 days of the new administration, a demonstration of its commitment to achieving food sufficiency. The farmers are immensely grateful for this opportunity to take their farming business to the next level.
The government can assist us by providing tractors for the farmers, rice farmers in the Enugu State. I think we will go a long way in feeding the state and the nation at large.
We thank God for this development. And we appreciate the effort of the Enugu State government in conjunction with the World Bank. So for delivering this dividend to us. So we appreciate it.
There are still some hurdles to cross, such as preparing land for cultivation.
Previously, it is very hard for us to put fertilizer at least to our rice. But now, there's nobody who can cultivate without fertilizer. Though, the problem remains the preparation of land.
After the tour, the management of appeals then met with the secretary to the state government to share their findings and recommend a way forward.
We are grateful that we were able to accomplish all this within the 100 days of His Excellency's administration, and we did a media tour. We've gone round to promote and showcase what the project has done within the period, and we've come back to brief you and do let you know that this was not possible without the immense support the state government gave to the project since its inception.
For the state government, its commitment to poverty eradication through agriculture will remain resolute.
We have decided, even at the assumption of office, to set out agro-allied processing zones. And this is important because we are looking at the whole value chain of agriculture. But this cascades it down to those that may not be part of these larger clusters, but yet are instrumental in being able to achieve what His Excellency set out as a target.
As they wind up the program this September, farmers are looking forward to more government-assisted programs that will improve their livelihood.
Residents of Ogun State have been bearing their minds on the proposed establishment of a special court by the state government to try court-related cases and ensure culprits responsible for their actions are brought to book. Now, some of the residents who welcomed the idea, amongst other measures to tackle the menace, attributed it to lack of family, society and moral values, saying it's a move in the right direction. The proposed law is coming on the heels of the recent violent court clashes which left about 8 people dead and destruction of properties in Shagamu.
The menace of cultism has been a major challenge in Ogun State, causing unrest in the state capital, Abuja, Shagamu, Ijebu-Ode, among other areas, where many lives have been lost. Despite the crackdown by security operatives, which has led to many arrests, this has not abated, and residents attribute the violence among the youths to peer pressure and upbringing.
The problem starts from home because all these people, they have families everywhere. Whether you are making good name, whether you are representing well, you are making good name, it starts from your home.
Governor Dakpo Abiodun is disturbed over the issue and reads a riot act to cultists in Ogun State.
I am hereby pronouncing that we will no longer refer to these people as cultists or any other name. We are pronouncing them as murderers. It is well within my authority as governor of the state to pronounce death penalties on people. And we are going to have to ensure that we enact that. Because when people appreciate and understand that there will be consequences for their behavior, perhaps they will begin to have a rethink.
Some residents of the state welcome the enactment of laws that will eradicate cultism.
Government is doing the right thing because the way they were killing themselves is uncalled for. It's very, very much uncalled for. I'm fully supported any state government or federal government to take any law that's going to be against any cultism in Nigeria, most especially in Ogun State.
I wholeheartedly support government move to make the activities of cultists a crime in the state.
The Ogun State government says a joint anti-cultism security task force will be set up to rid the state of cultism.
Parts of Mega Plastics, a factory located in the Lupeju area of Lagos mainland, was earlier today gutted by fire. Emergency workers of the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service were mobilized to put out the blaze, which was said to have affected the storage and factory sections of the petrochemical company. According to the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, the fire started from the company engineer's office before spreading to the factory and warehouse. The agency explains further that although the fire was curtailed after hours of operation, it continued to smother due to the petrochemical products from the factory. Staying in Lagos, the state government is giving assurances that it will create a safe environment for children, especially teenagers. The secretary to the state government, Mrs. Abimbola Saluhundeyi, made this pledge at the 2023 Safeguarding and Child Protection Day at Ikeja. According to her, children are not just the future, they are major stakeholders and useful resources in nation building and must be protected at any cost.
It's the 2023 Safeguarding and Child Protection Day at Enugu Park in Ikeja. The Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency is educating students drawn from public and private schools on the need to protect themselves and speak up when abused.
Those peer pressure, unwanted pregnancy, laziness, procrastination, and drug abuse and all that will not come our way. But you have to be determined that when it comes, that you are not going to give it a handshake.
In Lagos State, it is very clear, as provided by the Child Rights Law, precisely Section 14, the right of every child that is of school age to be in school.
The secretary to the state government and other speakers also appealed to the students to protect their body.
Our body belongs to us. I love the phrase, my body is mine. So when you say no, it is no. It must be respected. Your body is not just yours, it's not just your soul, it's not just your integrity, it is your destiny.
Any uncle can call a child and send an errand. But what do they do from those errands? They would manipulate the children, and under the guise of sending them on errand, they would abuse the children. Everyone should have somebody in your trusted network, those that you can speak to in confidence, those that will take steps to help you and to protect you.
For the Executive Secretary of the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency, every child has the right to life and must be protected.
It's an opportunity for us to engage with students, to engage them on their rights. We let them know about these issues of sexual and gender-based violence and the role they have to play in ensuring that their rights are adequately protected. But what we're doing differently this year, leveraging on the theme sexual and gender-based violence not in my Lagos, is peer learning.
Students are also willing to join the campaign against child abuse.
Seek attention from someone you know that you are not really close with and it can be trusted. So report to the UDHR, and if you feel like you can't trust anybody, just make sure that you are confident of yourself. Know that anything that deals with sexual violence must not be kept to yourself.
As a boy like myself, I can help by anytime I see any of these things happening, I move to an elder one or a counselor to help to stop this domestic and sexual abuse.
This awareness program is part of activities to wrap up the Domestic and Sexual Violence Awareness Month by ensuring that every abused child gets help as soon as possible.
Now let's find out the latest from the world of business. Laddie Williams has details.
Thanks, Belinda. On business news, reactions have continued to trail President Bola Tinubu's visit to the Nasdaq exchange and ringing of the closing bell. One is from Mr. Longe Ewaride, MD, NASD OTC Exchange. He believes now Mr. President must focus on action as he markets Nigeria to investors. I spoke to him earlier today on our Capital Market Show.
It's a signal to open engagements with the global community, the global economic community. But for me, I think that there is a lot of bolts and nuts work that is required. People want to see what you offer. People want to see you on the global stage, but they also want to feel what you have to offer when you come back to your country. And I think that's the message. I don't think that for Nigeria that we should promise magic.
Right.
I think we need to calm down, do a few things properly, do them efficiently, and do them consistently. I don't think we need to say we've been the first, we've been the second, we've done the best, you know. I think we need to sit down and think through what needs to be done. There's a very useful combination today of dreamers and tactical thinkers. That's what we require. And that combination must be translated into the activity of governance and our social construct.
And Forex trading on the FMDQ exchange ended the third week of September positive as the total turnover rose by 127.52% week on week to $643 million on both the FX spot and derivatives markets. That Friday, September the 22nd, highlights of the transactions carried out for the week shows that the total value of transactions in the FX spot market increased by 128.54% to $635.13 million, while turnover in the FX derivatives segment was up by 67.65% and was primarily driven by the 190.48% increase in FX forwards turnover. This came despite the 100% or $2 million decrease in OTC FX futures turnover and sustained lack of activity across the narrow-settled exchange-traded FX futures market. Meanwhile, the Naira depreciated by 0.37% week on week to 771.14 kobo against the dollar at the average Nigerian autonomous foreign exchange fixing at the end of the week. And in the domestic equities market, stocks closed in bear territory following profit-taking activities on most sessions this week as the all-share index dipped 0.11%. The sell pressure on MTN and Dangote Cement and top stocks dragged the all-share index lower to 67,324 points. On the other hand, activity levels were mostly red as the trading volume rose while the trading value decreased compared to last week. Across key sectors, the insurance, banking, and oil and gas indexes closed in the green, while industrial goods indexes dropped. Suno Assurances, Nigeria topped the gainers chart for the week, followed by LLX, and the fast food sector dominated top losing stocks, led by Tantalizers PLC. The trio of Universal Insurance PLC, Orlando PLC, United Bank for Africa PLC led top trades by volume. And the NASD OTC Securities Exchange Index closed the trading week in the green. The unlisted equities index was up by 0.41%. However, turnover was positive. Volume traded jumped by over 500% to 28.7 million units, while value rose by 25% to close at 142 million naira. Food Concepts PLC topped the gainers chart for the week, while NASD PLC led the decliners, and trading in top three was led by Geofluids. Let's bring you some of the expectations in Nigeria's financial market next week. Fixed income market participants anticipate the inflows from August revenue allocation by the Federal Revenue Allocation Committee to come into the financial system. The money market, traders expect the OVN rate to remain depressed next week, as we believe the expected inflows from FGN bond coupon payments of 202.34 billion naira will likely keep the system afloat. For the bonds market, traders expect yields in the FGN bond secondary markets to remain elevated, driven by the sustained imbalance in the demand and supply dynamics. However, they highlight that deliberate actions by the Debt Management Office to keep borrowing costs moderate remains a downside factor. In the Treasury bills secondary market, traders expect lower yields as expected inflows into the financial system will drive demand. In addition, the CBN is scheduled to hold an NTB primary market auction on Wednesday, 27th of September, where it will roll over maturities worth 177 billion naira. And lastly, for the local equities market, traders anticipate cautious trading due to the absence of significant positive catalysts to boost sentiment as the third quarter ends within the week. And that's it from me on businesses. Back to Melinda with the rest of the news at 10.
Many thanks, Nadi. The Lagos State Governorship Election Tribunal will on Monday deliver judgment in a suit filed by the Labour Party 2023 governorship candidate Mr. Gbadebo Rhodes Viva against the victory of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu in the March 18th poll. The Lagos State Governorship Election Tribunal will on Monday deliver judgment in a suit filed by the Labour Party governorship candidate Mr. Gbadebo Rhodes Viva against the victory of the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu in the March 18th poll. Now let's return to one of our major stories and bring you pictures of the procession that took place in honor of Afrobeat artist Mohbad in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Some residents in Port Harcourt defied an alleged cancellation by the police of the planned Candlelight procession to honor the Afrobeat musician. News of the alleged cancellation, however, affected the number of participants, as many of them later left the area where they had gathered. When contacted, the River State Police Public Relations Officer, Grace Koko, said that the organizers did not follow due process but maintained that the police would monitor them to ensure they went about it peacefully.
Welcome to Sports News. Nigeria has emerged the overall champion of the 2023 ITTF African Paratable Tennis Championships, which ended on Saturday in Giza, Egypt. Nigeria carted home 12 gold medals to dethrone Egypt as the #1 paratable tennis team on the continent. From the 14 tickets available for the Paris 2024 Paralympic Games, Nigeria picked 9, while Egypt settled for 5 in the singles event. However, Egypt dominated the doubles and mixed doubles events with 5 gold medals, while Nigeria secured 2. In the English Premier League, Manchester City have maintained their perfect record this season with a 2-0 win over Nottingham Forest. Goals from Phil Foden and Erling Haaland put Manchester City in total control as the defending champions are now 5 points clear at the top of the table. Bruno Fernandes's stunning volley gave Manchester City United a much-needed victory as they edged past Burnley. Luton Town picked up their first point with a hard-fought draw against Wolverhampton Wanderers, while Dominic Calvert-Lewin helped Everton end their winless start in a deserved victory over Brentford. England forward Harry Kane has scored a hat-trick and assisted twice as Bayern Munich extended their unbeaten start to the German Bundesliga season. Kane reacted quickly to smash home a loose ball in the Bochum box the first half before converting a penalty after the break. He secured the match ball by turning home a pass in the 88th minute. The former Tottenham Hotspur forward then delivered precise passes to set up Leroy Sané and Mathys Tel. Bayern Munich now have 4 wins and 1 draw after their opening 5 games and top the table with 13 points. The Real Madrid coach Carlo Ancelotti has confirmed that Brazil forward Vinicius Jr. would be in the squad to face Atletico Madrid on Sunday in La Liga. Vinicius Jr. has been out since suffering a hamstring injury against Celta Vigo on August the 25th, but has recovered quicker than expected. The 23-year-old may start on the bench in the Madrid derby at the Wanda Metropolitano, where league leaders Real Madrid are looking to maintain their 100% start to the season. Ancelotti said that England midfielder Jude Bellingham is fit for the game after a brief illness troubled him in the week. In Formula One, Max Verstappen has emphatically returned to pole position at the Japanese Grand Prix with a stunning qualifying performance. The two-time world champion ensured there was to be no repeat of his shock exit in Singapore and roared to his 9th pole position of the season. Oscar PS3 and Lando Norris will line up behind the Red Bull on Sunday in 2nd and 3rd. Verstappen's advantage over Piastri is the largest pole margin at Suzuka since Rubens Barrichello in 2003. Ferrari had taken pole at the last two Grand Prix but had to settle for fourth with Charles Leclerc and with Carlos Sainz. That's a wrap on Sports News. Thank you for watching. I'm Victor Matthias, but it's back to Melinda in Lagos with the rest of the news at 10.
And thanks, Victor. On the international scene, at least 34 people have been killed when an illegal fuel dump burst into flames in Benin Republic near the border with Nigeria. The country's Interior Minister, Alassane Seidu, says the fire incident occurred in the town of Semepoji. The minister adds that the deaths included 2 children who were burnt, while 20 others are being treated in hospital. Nigeria is a major oil and gas producer, and fuel smuggling is common along its borders, especially when the government maintained a subsidy to keep prices low. Main news again. Benue State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal today dismissed the petition filed by the PDP and its candidate in the March 18th governorship election and upheld the victory of Governor Hyacinth Alia. The tribunal held that issues raised were pre-election matters. That's the news at 10 tonight. I'm Melinda Akinlami. On behalf of the team, good night.